Okay, everybody, welcome to the Undisputed Podcast, where me and my co-host Jeff will go over each pay-per-view from 1997 to the current product and review two matches off each one, one picked by each of us for each pay-per-view. Obviously, not the same one. Right now, we're on WrestleMania 13. Earlier, we did Jeff's pick, Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Goldust. Now we're doing my pick. The infamous WrestleMania 13 submission match between Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And let me tell you something, this match is a treat. First off, we hear about a submission match and learn the rules. There's no pinfalls, no countouts, no disqualifications. The only way to win is to make your opponent submit. First, they introduce us to the special guest referee, Ken Shamrock. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out first, has a couple words with Ken Shamrock. Then Bret Hart's music and pyro hits, and he comes out to a surprisingly mixed reaction by the crowd here. Bret Hart clearly the babyface, Stone Cold clearly the heel, yet the crowd seems like they are split right down the middle. Bret barely makes it in the ring, and Stone Cold tackles Bret Hart. They brawl right away. Immediately they're brawling to each other. They roll out of the outside, and the brawl goes outside. Hart ends up throwing Austin headfirst into the ring post on the outside, and then Austin ends up dropping Hart on his nuts on the steel barricade, and then a clothesline out into the crowd. Then they end up brawling. First Hart slams Austin's head into the barricade, and then they start brawling throughout the crowd. When they're in the crowd, Hart ends up back body dropping Austin onto the steps on the outside, the concrete steps, going down where people's seats are. That would be extremely painful, by the way. Ow. Then Hart ends up throwing Austin back over to the outside of the ring area, where Austin ends up taking the advantage on a reversal Irish whip, throwing Hart into the steel steps. Austin picks up the steel steps in an attempt to hit Bret Hart with them, and he botches this and completely drops the steel steps in kind of a little funny spot. Here, Austin ends up throwing Hart head first into the steel post. And then finally, both men back into the ring. Everything that I just said happened in like a 10-minute span. They were out there for a long time. First move hit in the ring, Hart hits a swinging neck breaker on Austin. Then Hart starts working on the knee of Austin, and he does this for like 5 minutes. I'm not gonna tell you guys every little thing he did, but he just works the knee for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Good technician. Austin's bad knees. He wears knee braces on both knees. It's very smart of Bret to do that, and especially in a submission style match. Austin ends up countering into a Stone Cold Stunner on the Bret Hart submission match. So, that only does so much. And then Hart goes back to work on the knee of Austin by using the ring post and putting like a figure 4 around the ring post. After he gets done with that, Bret Hart goes to the top rope, and Austin grabs the steel chair and hits Bret Hart in the head with a steel chair, causing Hart to fall off the top rope back into the ring. Then Austin uses the chair on Bret Hart's back, then a body slam, and then a low blow by Austin while he's on the ground. Austin picks him back up, Russian leg sweep. Then he uses some weird submission that I'm not really sure what the name of it is, but he wrenches the arm, and then he puts his leg around his head and pushes down, causing the neck to hang out there. Never seen it before, to be honest with you. It was pretty unique. Then he puts him in the Boston Crab, as some of you guys may know as the Walls of Jericho. He's trying to get Hart to submit here, but Hart won't have any of it. Hart ends up getting to the ropes, and Shamrock and Austin kind of get into it for a little bit right here, verbally, not physically. Austin ends up going for the sharpshooter, and Bret Hart thumbs him in the eye. Not really a babyface thing to do, right? Exactly. Austin tosses Hart to the outside. This crowd is going... I just want to point out, this crowd is going absolutely nuts. 100% mixed reaction for these guys. It's just crazy. 50% of the crowd is for Bret Hart. 50% of the crowd is for Stone Cold Steve Austin. They are into this feud. I'm telling you that right now. Hart whips Stone Cold Steve Austin into the steel barricade, and Hart starts hammering Austin in the face with right hands, and Austin is busted open, bleeding profusely out of his head right now. Austin face first into the steel steps, then into the steel post again, just working on that cut on Austin's head. Bret Hart puts right hands all over Austin, just starts punching him all over the place, picks him up, backbreaker, then uses the steel chair to the back of Austin's knee like 5 times, where he just like grabs it and just like bam, with the top end of the chair going straight down into the back of his knee. Boom. About 5 times there, working on Austin's bad knees, obviously, for the sharpshooter. He goes to the sharpshooter again. Austin fights off. Austin kicks Bret Hart right in the nuts. Then Austin throws him into the turnbuckle because they're stopping a mud hole in Bret Hart's ass and walking it dry. Austin winds up with a suplex to Bret Hart. Then Austin goes outside and gets an electrical extension cord and uses that to start choking out Bret Hart. But Bret Hart uses a ring bell that he brought into the ring earlier that never got used, and he hits Austin in the head with the ring bell. And then Bret Hart ends up putting the sharpshooter on Austin, and you get that iconic view that everybody's always seen, where Austin like pushes up into push-up position, and his head's up there, and he's screaming, and he's got the blood rolling down his face. That's a super iconic image from WWE. This leads to the infamous double turn, where Austin turns from heel to face, and Hart turns from face to heel in this very moment right here, as the crowd all turns on Bret Hart, and the entire crowd starts cheering on Austin, as Austin refuses to tap out, and eventually, after a long fight in the sharpshooter, passes out with dignity and never submits. But Ken Shamrock calls for the bell because Austin passes out, so Bret Hart wins. Okay, so my thoughts on this match is this is one of my favorite matches from '97. The second half of the match is pretty controlled by Bret Hart, but the storytelling in this match is phenomenal. Bret Hart had been slowly hinting at a heel turn for a long time. He's been getting screwed out of match after match after match, and complaining and whining about it consistently, as baby faces are not usually don't do, right? So he's been doing that for a while, and the crowd was kind of getting souring of his excuses, and so it was already starting there, where Austin was a heel and he did heel things, but he was too cool to hate, and the crowd was starting to side with Austin just because he was a badass. It was very hard to not like Stone Cold Steve Austin. So this really was what sealed it. You know, Austin not passing out, looking like not tapping out, looking like a badass, passing out to Bret Hart sharpshooter. And so, I mean, all this shit just put together just made one great match. The action was good too, but the storytelling was just phenomenal. So, I mean, it's always going to be good when you got two guys like this in the ring. Bret Hart was a master at his craft, and Austin was just one of the most likable characters in the history of this company, if not the most likable. So, I give this a 9 out of 10. Very, very good, very, very enjoyable match. Please do not miss this. Let's see what Jeff has to say. Next up, we're doing In Your House 1997, Revenge of the Taker. We'll let you know the match shortly. We haven't really decided on that yet. So